Welcome to the fastest daf in town, today Masechtas Kiddushin daf Gimel. We're going to begin on Beis Amud Beis, the second to last line from the bottom. V'hadit Tanan. So we learned when it comes to an esrog that it's shavel ilan begimel drachim, and we're going to be focusing, as we saw in yesterday's daf, how come it uses the word drachim as opposed to devarim, and derech could be a lashon zachar, could be a lashon nekeva. So what are the three ways in which an esrog is like a tree? So Rashi says, when it comes to the dinim of Arla, the first 3 years of a tree they can't use, or Vai, as well as the fourth year, knowing boi ki'iwan, has the same din as a tree. Well, Inyan Shvius, and when it comes to the seventh year, Hoyachin beperois of achar hachanata ki'iwan. We go basar chanata, the time of its growth, ki'ilan v'lo achar l'kita kiyark, and not the time that it's actually plucked. So when it comes to vegetables, we say that shvius, we go basar l'kita, the time it's harvested or taken, as opposed to the time that it's considered grown. So it's considered, again, an esrog is like an ilan when it comes to arla, ravai, and shmita. However, so that's that. So for the Gemara, so listening to Var, so mishum debi'inan masni seifa u'miyark b'derech echad, because we say that it's like a vegetable in one manner. Rashi says shebishas likitaso isuroi, that the time of the gathering it is the time which we go bust to the meiser. So therefore, because over there it says the word derech, so therefore the racist says derech. So seifa nami listening davar. So what do you mean? How's that an answer? Just say the word davar there also. So on this, the Gemara answers on Gimel Amud Aleph, Hasam HaKamashmon is coming to tell you the darcha de esrog ki yaruk, that it's the derech. So we use the word derech because the way of an esrog in many ways to be like a vegetable. My yaruk darko li gadol al kol mayim, that just like a yaruk grows by all waters, therefore v'shas likitasu isuro, therefore it goes busted the likita, the time that it's harvested. Av esrog darko li gadol al kol mayim, we know the esrog also grows in the same manner, therefore v'shas likitasu isuro. Fine. So that's the reason why, it's because it's the derech that it grows similar to a yaruk. Okay. V'hadit nan koi, when it comes to a koi, which some people translate as a water buffalo, yeshbo drachim shavel chaya. There's certain ways that it's like a chaya. Says Rashi, a koi is a suffix chaya suffix behema. We don't know if it's a domesticated or non-domesticated animal, and therefore some ways it's like a chaya. And Rashi says, "V'ton kisi adam," just like a chaya. If you shech the chaya, you need to cover its blood. So too when it comes to a koi, the yeshma derachim shavel behema. There's certain ways it's like an animal that it's chaylev, its fats are usher. The yeshma derachim shavel chaya behema. Sometimes it's like a chaya and a behema, which they both it requires shchita, which is obvious. The yeshma derachim shin shavel chaya behema. Sometimes it's not like a chaya or like a behema. And Rashi says, "Aser harva im habehema v'chaya." You cannot mix it together with other animals. So nisni devarim. So the question just simply asks is, well, again, why is the word drachim? Just say the word devarim there. Pasu hadanan zu achas min hadrachim shishav gitinashim shchori avadim nisni devarim. So as we saw in Masechtas Gittin, and Rashi reminds us of what this is a little bit. It says this is one of the ways that the dinim of a document of an eved is like a get. Says Rashi, Shamevi get o shichur mevdin seyam upon nechtam. So the first parak in Gittin, just a little chazara here, is that you have to say upon nechtam, either because of Lishma or because of Einidim Mitzvah Kaimo, and that also applies to a get shechor for when it comes to an eved. So the question, why again does it say the word derachim? Ela kol heicha deika plugta. This is the answer. Anytime that there is some type of distinction, tani derachim. V'chol heicha deleka plugta. Anytime there's no distinctions, tani devarim. When it's equal to everything, so we say l'chol davar, use the word davar. But when it's something which divides, then we use the word derech, which is pretty interesting because a derech, what does a road do? Because what a road does is it brings you, it can bring you from one place to the next. So it's not something which is the same. A road often does divide. There's crossroads. So we use the word drachim. So Rashi explains this a little bit clearer. De'ika plukta chiluk bedrachim. There's different ways. Bederech zu hu daima lekan, and bederech zu eno daima. This way it's comparable, and this way it's not. Kigon masnisen, like our Mishnah says, begimel drachim. Why does it say drachim? Because there's three ways, which obviously is coming to exclude something. As we're going to see, l'muti chuppah, d'lokanya. You can't do Kiddushin with chuppah, as we'll discuss. Udazav, hachi hu dahavi oinis, laziva. We mentioned 7 ways: eating, drinking, here, hariya, kvitza, all these. Chayil, v'loi oinis acher, no other way. If a gittin be'elu shava, this way it's equal. V'lo b'oimer tenu get zel ishti. If you say, give the get to my wife, ushtar shichur zel abdi, give this to my slave, the chayz again made a chayz zel shichur. The zakhan other shobafanim, which is actually a machlokas over there, but he's saying that when it comes to a get, so the din is your chayzer, because it's not a good thing to go to divorce is a terrible thing, so therefore he can retract. However, he's not able to be chayzer b'shichur because it's considered like as soon as he said this that he's considered to be free, because zakhan adam shobafanim. Okay, assuming that it means that a slave would want to be free. Okay, and again, that's the proof. Shema Mino. So now the Gemara wonders: why does the Mishnah have these different cases? What is it coming to exclude? Why does it mention 3? We can count. Kesef, Shtar, Bia. Why does it mention that? Why in the Seifa does it say she's kind of herself with get or misas abal? We can count up to 2. What is it's obviously coming to exclude something. So minyana say v'mutima. Minyana the reisha. So minyana the reisha is a muti chuppah. It's coming to exclude chuppah. Then a person says Rashi, she'im masr la via chuppah. If her father gave her over to chuppah, l'shem kedushin in mekudeshes bekach. That's not a good kedushin. Rav Huna dir mechuppah kind of mekabel chaimer. Actually, we're going to see later on Daf Hey that you could actually do Kiddushin with chuppah. We'll see why. There's some Kabbalah which we'll get to. So mitimai. So muti chalipin. When it comes to chalipin, that definitely doesn't work, which is a kinyan sudar. Some kadai tachamin, you would think. Since we learn out from stay Ephron, so mas sada when it comes to a field, makta chalipin. You can acquire field using chalipin, as Rashi quotes in Rus, the Yishlov Nalo v'hasam sada havoy. So it had to do with the removal of the shoe, which had to do with the field. So we see chalipin does work when it comes to a field. So since it works for a field, says the Gemara, af isha nami mekanya b'chalipin kamashmon be'machinami. So maybe why not? Maybe chalipin should work. So chalipin is the b'pachas meshever pruta. V'ish b'pachas meshever pruta. As we continue to gimel midbeis, lo machni nafsha. No. A woman is not able to be acquired from pachas meshever pruta, as we established in yesterday's daf in the Mishnah, and therefore that will not work. Okay. Question 3. Heisha niknas b'shalosh drachim minyana l'mutimai, either chuppah or possibly chalipin. Okay, that was question 3. And question TA30, Gimel Almud Aleph, Madua ein isha niknas b'chalipin. What's the big deal? Why can't chalipin work? So as the Gemara said beferish, because chalipin is isnu b'pachas meshever pruta v'isha b'pachas meshever pruta lo machne nafsha. Okay. Very good. So, with that said, let's continue to get on the base. Okay. So that was the minyana the reisha. So for the Gemara, minyana the seifa l'mutima, mute chalitza. That the only way that this girl who is wants to leave this marriage, she can only leave with her husband dying or with a get, not with chalitza. Maybe you would think she could. Because my Yavama Shenu Yatzim get, when it comes to a Yavama, and she's married, Yavama, she doesn't leave with a get, Yatzim Chalitza. In other words, it's not that she was already married to him. In other words, her husband died, she's Zakuk, so in that situation, the din is, he can just do Chalitza. But what do we see? That he can't give her a get. A get's not going to free her. Zu has some strength giving a get, but it's not enough to free her from this Zika. So Zu shiyotzia began and din shiyotzia b'chalitza. So this woman, since a get does release her, chalitza certainly should work, right? So kamashmon that not. So v'machanami amar cross sever krisos sever korsa v'davaracha korsa. There has to be dafka sever krisos and nothing else. Question 4. Minyan de sev v'mutimai ma havamina that the kana atzma b'chalitza manolan de enachinami. So the Havamin is maybe learn out a couple chaimer from Yavama. My Yavama shenu yatz beget yatz b'chalitza zush yatz beget b'chul. However, since it's a sever krisa, sever kursa, then devar acher kurta, and therefore because of that, that will not work. Okay. Good. Vita. So bekesef. So now we're gonna analyze the first of the 3 ways mentioned in our Mishnah of how a person can be kaina. A woman, how you can get married by giving her kesef. So in this, the Gemara says, Manon, how do you know that works? The Su, furthermore, hadit nan, that which we learned, that ha'av zaki b'vita b'kiddusheho. It says that a father has rights to his daughter, namely because of ishtar b'vabiyah. So Manon the makani b'kesef. How do we know that she could actually get married with kesef? The kesef de'avuhu. And how do we know that the father has the rights to this money? So Rabbi Yehuda Marav, the pasuk says, "V'yatzachinam ein kasef." Now this pasuk is referring to avdos. Now ein ket that you go out free without money. So ein kesef adam zeh, there's no kesef given to this master. Of yesh kesef adam acher manihu av, but there is kesef to the other guy, which is the father. Says Rashi, what is v'yatzachinam? Is gabi Amaha Avriya. This is referring to a Jewish servant who leaves Hayatzas Merishus Adon, that leaves the domain of her master, Bisimani Nairus. We're going to see, I believe Daf Yodal Bebeis, that once a woman shows Simani Nairus, she shows signs of maturity, she now leaves. And the din is, she leaves in Kesef, that this master doesn't get anything. She just goes out free, which is mashma. Only there is that how it works. However, when it comes to her leaving her father, in that situation, the din is the father does get. So maybe she should get the money. Why do we assume that the kesef should go to the father? So how do you understand? How is that possible? We know that the father can be makabel the Kiddushin. That's brought down by Moitzi Shemra. So v'ihi shaka kasma. So why would you think she can get the money? So the ema hadimili katana. I can understand that the father should have rights to the money while if he decides to marry Raphael, she's only a katana, delesla yad lekabel kedushin, because she has no yad. She's too young. Avol naira d'isla yad lekabel kedushin. A naira who does have a yad to be mekabel her kedushin, so to kaddish ihi nafsha, let her be mekaddish herself. V'tishko kasma, and let her also be able to take the money, says Rashi. Binmya, after she'alchinam zichahu akasu b'kabalas kedusheha. Rather, this Rashi down here. Avol naira d'isla yad mishehavia shtein sairoi. So when she shows signs of maturity by showing 2 pubic hairs, gedola chol davar. She's considered to be a gedola regarding all matters. L'chol einchin, l'chol mamoin, shemecha mekach, l'memcher mecher. So all these dinim apply to her. She can buy and sell. She has all these responsibilities. So he takdish nafsha. Let her be mekadosh herself. So I understand maybe when it comes to a woman who is a katana, but how do we see this when it comes to a naira that the father should be entitled to the kedushin? So Makra benureha beisaviha. So what does this mean? And it mentions benureha. Kol shvach neurim, all the benefits of being young, lavia, they go to the father. So therefore, says Rashi, Hachi darishla kolzman shibenu reha he shalvia the hoshvacha bola laviahu. That even as a naira, everything that she gets goes to her father. How do we know that if a daughter does work, that it goes to the father? That when a man sells his daughter as a maidservant, now this is, as Rashi says, Kra Yiserahu. This is an extra pasuk. So therefore we can make a drasha. We know that a woman who is like a servant, all of her handiwork goes to her master. So too everything goes to her father. So why do we need this pasuk? We can learn everything out from Rabbi. Why do you need to learn out from? So the fact that this is Rabbi Savia, that should be enough. So why don't we learn out from that alone? Why do we have to learn out from Yatzachinim in Kasef? So Ella b'Hafaras Nadarim Hudachsev. The reason why is because it's only telling you that he has rights to her Hafaras Nadarim. So Achanam Hafaras Nadarim Hudachsev. So if that's the case, maybe that's all. Again, the father has a right to. So how do you know that means he's able to become a Kiddushin? So maybe just like he's able to have rights for being made for her neder, so he's also going to have rights to her money. Now, you cannot learn out mamoin from Isser. So we want to learn out from the dinim of Kanas. So what is that? Says Rashi, we know that Kesev Kiddushin and Kesev Kanasa. What is the Kanas? That if a man is ma'anas or mafata a woman, rapes or seduces her, he's mechuyev to give the father 50 kesef. So just like he has to give money there, so maybe he has to give the Kiddushin also. So why don't we learn from Kadas? So he says you can't do that because the chitema nail of Mekanasa, Mamoni Mekanasa Yalfina. You cannot learn out from Kanas. A Kanas is a penalty. The Rashi says it kul chiddush, and chiddush lo gamrina. And therefore, again, says Rashi, Vikati Kiddushin Manon Ilaviyahavi. How do we know Taka that the father gets it? Maybe all the father does is have rights to her being able to annul her vows. The chitema nail min boishes supagam. What's learned out from boishes supagam? What's that? So Rashi quotes the Gemara in Masechtas Ksubis. That when a person is ma'anis a woman, noisein boishes upigam la'av, you have to give the boishes and the pigam to the father. V'hanhu lav kanasaninu. It's not a kanas because it's not just like giving chamishin kesef. Chamishin kesef is no matter who this woman is, no matter who this guy is, you always have to give 50. Why? What if it's less? It's a kanas. So, but over here, when it comes to pagam, we actually evaluate the embarrassment and humiliation that was caused, and therefore that's actually mamun. That's not kanas. So therefore, just like he's entitled to the bosh's pagam, so maybe he's entitled to Kiddushin. So shani bosh's pagam diavu shaykh begavayhu. When it comes to bosh's pagam, the father has shaykhs to it. Says Rashi, sheish ladin chelok behen. He has a chelok in it. Sheish biyadol levayishel poigma b'shemol mamun shitnoi. He has the ability to mevayish her. Because he technically, as the father can, hopefully he wouldn't, but marry his daughter to someone who is menuvel, repulsive, or someone who has boils. So he's going to end up causing boishes pagam. So the fact that this guy was honest, his daughter, this man's daughter, so therefore now she's less valuable, so to speak. People aren't going to be as interested in her because of, unfortunately, the terrible thing that happened to her. Anyway, so you can't learn out from that either. El Mastabra, the Chikam Amayit, it's logical that when we're going to come to exclude, as we continue down the Aleph, the Yetzidik Vasikam Amayit. Okay. And we'll probably stop there. So let's look at this Rashi. El Oyla Mikrakama. We're going to learn out from the first pasuk. Dein kesavon and zeh nafka. Adikashalach ve'emul dida. Maybe she should get it. Mistabra de lavia. Mistabra the father should get the Kiddushin. The chikim amayit yisias erison. Medin yisias alma ha'avriya. Since we're connecting and comparing the two, Uval Weimer Kan in Kesef, al Yasias Acher Eris in Yesh Kesef. We're seeing there's no money given to this Adain, right? Yitziyah de Kavasika Mamayat. It must be something similar to it. Says Rashi, Yitzias Erison Dumine Yitzias Alma Kam Mamayat, Medin Alma, Lamemer de Yesh Kesef Ba. Umay Yitzias Alma Havriya in Kesel Adain. There's no money given to this master. Av Miyat de Yesh Kesef de Kodaik Yitzias Erison Yesh Kesef, Lami Shiatzim Menu Kaimer Behind Av. So just like she's leaving the domain of this man, namely the Adain, but he doesn't get money. So when it comes to this situation, she's leaving the domain of the father, and he does get the money. So therefore, that's how we're able to actually deduce the maskana that in fact is correct. Okay, let's look at TB1. Hayisha niklas b'shosh drachim b'kanes atzma b'shnei drachim. Ma'asal muti minyan reishal minyan l'seifa. Okay, we did this already. Reishal muti chupor chalitza. Chalipin rather, with Chalipin is Never Koil. The save was Mute Chalitza. Adkan.